WWE wanted him to be the next John Cena, the shining hero who would carry the company into a new era, but instead of cheers, he was met with thunderous boos, hostile chants, and arenas that flat out rejected him. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the dark truth of why Roman Reigns' babyface run failed, and how that very failure turned him into the most dominant force in wrestling today. From the moment the Shield broke up, WWE saw Roman Reigns as their chosen one, the next great superstar, the man who would be the face of the company for the next decade. But here's the twist, the fans didn't want it. What was supposed to be the rise of a hero turned into one of the most controversial booking decisions in WWE history. Tonight we'll break down every moment, from the Shield's end, to the Royal Rumble disaster, to the relentless push, the Cena comparisons, the breaking point, and finally, the shocking redemption that came with the tribal chief. And make no mistake, this story is as dramatic as any main event at WrestleMania. The Shield breakup, 2014. The Shield wasn't just a faction, it was a phenomenon. Three hungry warriors dressed in black tactical gear storming through the crowd, wrecking everything in their path. Ambrose was the wild card, Rollins the architect, and Roman was the powerhouse, the silent assassin with a spear that could cut a man in half. When Seth Rollins swung that steel chair in 2014 and shattered the Shield, it was the spark of a new era. But behind the scenes, WWE already knew who they wanted as their next big star. Roman wasn't going to climb the mountain naturally. WWE wanted to airlift him straight to the top. At first, the crowd loved him. He was cool, mysterious, and part of the faction everyone adored. But when the machine shifted gears and spotlighted Roman alone, the cracks formed quickly. Fans started noticing. He wasn't struggling for the spot, he was being handed the spot. Dean Ambrose's fiery promos connected. Seth Rollins' betrayals and cunning antics made him fascinating. But Roman was presented as the franchise before the people ever had the chance to choose him. And in WWE, when the company crowns you before the fans do, the backlash is inevitable. But if fans thought they had concerns in 2014, what happened the very next year would blow the roof off the arena. The 2015 Royal Rumble disaster, Philadelphia, January 2015. The birthplace of hardcore wrestling, a city that doesn't just watch wrestling, it lives it. These fans can smell inauthenticity a mile away. Daniel Bryan had just returned from injury, the ultimate underdog, the man who fans willed into the WrestleMania 30 main event the year before. The crowd came into the Rumble chanting his name, waiting for their hero to triumph again. But WWE's script had no happy ending for Bryan. He was eliminated early. The arena went nuclear. Every cheer turned into a thunderous no, and then Roman entered. Superman punch, spear, elimination after elimination. He looked like a superhero. But to the Philly crowd, he looked like the villain. When Roman finally stood tall as the winner, the boos were deafening. And here's the kicker. WWE thought they had a trick up their sleeve. Out came The Rock. The people's champion himself raised Roman's hand, smiling with pride. But instead of lifting Roman up, the boos rained down on The Rock too. He looked shocked, almost confused. That night, the rejection wasn't just loud, it was historic. From that moment on, Roman wasn't the people's choice. He was WWE's choice, and the fans weren't having it. But did WWE listen to that crowd? Not a chance. They went all in on Roman, when the war with the audience was just beginning. WWE forcing the push, 2015 to 2017. What followed was one of the most infamous stretches in modern WWE history. Roman Reigns was put into main events over and over again. WrestleMania 31, Roman versus Brock Lesnar. The story was simple. The next chosen one conquers the beast. But fans booed him out of the building. Only Seth Rollins' famous Money in the Bank cash-in saved that night from disaster. The next year, WrestleMania 32, Roman versus Triple H in Dallas. Over 100,000 people in attendance. And yet the crowd rained down boos like it was a hostile takeover. The so-called hero of WWE walked out the champion, but the noise didn't match the picture WWE wanted. And then WrestleMania 33, The Undertaker's supposed farewell match. A sacred moment, a passing of the torch. Roman beat the Deadman. Instead of celebration, the next night on Raw, Roman was drowned in boos for nearly 10 minutes straight. He stood there, mic in hand, and couldn't even speak. That wasn't heat, that was outright rejection. The message was clear. WWE was pushing Roman as the conquering hero, but the audience saw him as the corporate puppet. You can't wrestle. Roman sucks. These weren't one-off chants, they were a movement. Entire arenas united in defiance. And yet, WWE kept booking him as the babyface hero. The disconnect grew wider. But if fans thought being force-fed Roman was bad, the next comparison made it even worse. The John Cena comparisons. John Cena had already lived this movie. For years, half the audience booed him, half cheered him, but Cena thrived on it. He could outtalk anyone, flip the crowd, and make magic. WWE thought Roman could be molded into the same role, the new face of the company, the PG superhero. But here's the problem. Roman wasn't Cena. He didn't have the same quick wit on the microphone. He wasn't built for 10-minute promos filled with jokes and comebacks. And when WWE gave him corny lines, it was a disaster. Suffering succotash. Fans never forgot it. That one promo became a meme, a weapon. It symbolized everything wrong with his character. The cool, silent powerhouse was being forced into a cartoon. Fans started calling him Cena 2.0, a corporate golden boy copy, and Roman knew it. He once fired back in an interview, "I am not Cena," but by then, the perception had stuck. The crowd wasn't just booing Roman the character, they were booing Roman the idea that WWE could manufacture a star and tell the fans to like it. And when WWE doubled down even harder, the backlash reached a breaking point. The breaking point, 2017 to 2019. By 2017, Roman was headlining show after show, but the hostility was boiling over. At SummerSlam, crowds chanted for anyone but him. At WrestleMania, signs filled arenas mocking the push. His matches became a battlefield not just between wrestlers, but between WWE and the audience. And then came 2018. Roman announced he was battling leukemia. In that moment, the boos vanished. The WWE Universe stood and applauded. The man who had been rejected for years was suddenly respected for his courage and honesty. When he returned, fans softened toward him, but the truth remained. His babyface character still didn't connect. The sympathy was for Joe Inoue, the man, not Roman Reigns, the character. It was proof that the problem was never Roman the performer. It was Roman the corporate creation. And then in 2020, after years of rejection, everything changed in one night. Redemption, the Tribal Chief era, 2020 to now. SummerSlam 2020, Roman Reigns returned, but this time he wasn't smiling, he wasn't pandering, he wasn't pretending to be the hero. He came back with fire in his eyes and arrogance in his voice. He aligned with Paul Heyman, he demanded respect, he called himself the head of the table, and the WWE Universe? They finally believed him. For the first time, Roman wasn't playing a role written for him, he was playing himself. Confident, ruthless, dominant. The Bloodline storyline became the most talked about saga in wrestling. The Usos, Solo Sikoa, betrayal, loyalty, family drama. It was cinema inside a wrestling ring. The same man fans once booed out of buildings was now the longest reigning champion in decades, acknowledged as one of the greatest characters of all time. Roman Reigns failed as a babyface, but that failure paved the way for the Tribal Chief. The truth is simple. Roman's babyface run failed because WWE forced it. They ignored the fans. They tried to script destiny instead of letting it happen. But that failure became the foundation for greatness. By embracing the darkness, by becoming the villain, Roman Reigns transformed into something bigger than the company ever imagined. From boos to acknowledgement, from rejection to domination, Roman's story is one of the most dramatic turnarounds in wrestling history. So now we ask you, could Roman Reigns ever have worked as a babyface if WWE had booked him differently? Or was the heel turn always his true destiny? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and the best ones will get pinned right here. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into WWE's most controversial stories, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and join us again as we uncover the drama, the chaos, and the legends that define wrestling history. This is Power Unscripted, and the story is far from over.